welcoming yourself to the moment. And all of you is welcome here. However you are at this moment is welcome. And welcoming one another in the silence of your mind. With a sense of community, a sense of kindness and tender love towards one another, compassion. We're all here together. We're all practicing as one. And so just allowing for the body to kind of settle in here. Allowing for the mind to rest in this awareness that there is a body here, sitting, lying, or standing. Eyes open or eyes closed, whatever works for you. If your eyes are open, maybe lowering your gaze, softening the gaze in some way, giving yourself the message of looking inward and not outward. And then just bringing your attention to those areas of contact of the body with the chair, the surface that might be holding you, maybe the cushion, the mat. And just allowing for this moment to be the most important moment of your life, because it is. There's no other moment than this. And so maybe setting the intention of being fully here, fully present. And whatever might be here still from the moment before can just fade into the background without suppressing, without trying to make it go away. So whatever is in the mind, in the heart, or in the body in this moment, that's okay. But whatever, but whenever you can, just bring in your attention to your breathing, the body here, breathing, feeling the sensation of the breath in the body, the nostrils, the chest, the abdomen. And just following the breath all the way from beginning to end. Being aware of each in breath and out breath, and maybe even the pause in between. And noticing if there's any tension or tightness anywhere in the body right now. And seeing if it can be softened a little bit. Seeing if it can be let go. Maybe taking in a deep breath and just releasing it on the out breath. Meeting this moment with kindness for whatever it brings. So whether it's tightness or tension, even discomfort, kindly just meeting it here, softening around it. Maybe inviting the shoulders to drop, inviting the jaw to release, inviting the area around the eyes to soften, inviting the hands to give in. And just allowing for a sense of overall ease and tenderness in this moment. Kindness towards our tension, kindness towards tightness. And whatever thoughts, whatever judgments you might have of yourself, the moment, or anything at all right now, it can just all fall into the background, acknowledging that that's the natural function of the mind. And it's okay. It's just what it does. They're just thoughts, not necessarily real. So just coming back to grounding yourself right here in the breath, the body, fully present, fully alert, yet allowing the body to soften at the same time. softly and tenderly, easing yourself, easing into the moment, bringing a sense of ease and kindness towards any tightness or tension again. Grounding yourself in this breath. And now turning your attention towards any sounds around you, or even the absence of sound, maybe silence. And without going into the narrative or the labeling, tuning into what the sound is like, the volume, the pitch, the rhythm, as if it was the very first time you ever heard it. And perhaps you might notice the mind trying to label it, create a story. And that's okay. Just coming back to really listening. And without looking for any sounds in particular, allowing whatever is here just to come to you, being noticed. Any sounds that would like to be noticed right now can come forward at this moment. And whenever you notice the mind distracting away, telling story, narrating, just kindly coming back to all sounds that might come to your awareness in this moment, whatever is present. As you do this, you might notice that some sounds are more pleasant than others. So maybe noticing the quality of the sound, pleasant or unpleasant, without trying to make anything be anything other than what it is. So if there is an unpleasant sound, just allowing it to be unpleasant. Still bringing curiosity to the quality of it being unpleasant, maybe. And if there's no sound and there's silence, there might be a certain unpleasantness in not being able to hear anything right now. Noticing that. So whatever arises right now, just being with it in this moment. Seeing if we can bring a sense of kindness towards the moment exactly as it is. And so can we bring a sense of ease to that we consider unpleasant? Can we soften around it? Lower our resistance to it? And instead, can we just welcome it with kindness? So whether it's emotion rising because of the sounds, the annoyance that some sounds can produce, the tightness maybe. Acknowledging it as a natural process. And maybe the moment is coloring the mind right now as a lot of distraction, maybe a lot of thinking happening, planning. And that might give rise to some frustration, tightness. So inviting yourself to ease yourself into the moment, softening around it. And whenever you can, bring in your attention to sounds with kind, compassionate guidance, knowing that that's what the mind does and it's okay. Now checking in with any other emotions that might be present here in this moment, checking in with the heart. How is your heart right now? And is it all right to just allow it to be however it is? Is it okay to invite some kindness to whatever it is that's here? And if at any moment you notice a strong, maybe overwhelming emotion taking over, what would be the kindest thing to do? Maybe opening your eyes, shifting your pose. But doing all this fully aware and not by impulse. Being aware of what's happening, maybe taking a breath and then shifting, opening your eyes. And then join us whenever you're ready. So when practicing mindfulness, we often say, turn towards. And this means do not run away from your pain, whether physical or emotional. It's already here. And running away from it will only make it worse. Besides, it will keep coming back. So there is a formula that is often credited to teacher and researcher Shinzen Young. And it says suffering equals pain times resistance. And so by suffering, we refer to all those things that we feel take our happiness away. But even that is an illusion. Nothing takes anything away because whatever is here is what it is and it will pass. So every time you find yourself caught up in seeing things that are happening as good or bad, rest assured that you are not longer in the moment. The polarity is a work of the mind, the judging, the good, the bad. It all comes from our past experience. So it is the interpretation of a similar unsatisfactory event from the past. The mind, taking the role of our protector, will warn us on this discomfort and will take action to survive. And if we think about it, we can bring a lot of gratitude to even that. And so now, I like to always say that I don't think all suffering is caused by past experiences. For instance, we might suffer from the loss of a loved one. And the suffering can be happening right now, right in this moment, if it happened just now. The sadness might rise from an event that triggers empathy and compassion as another way. Now, however, whenever we talk about suffering, we're referring to the function of the mind to motivate us to do something. So sadness, for instance, loneliness, they can be motivators for finding connection, right? So maybe but what we're talking about is more of the habit that we can cause every time we're caught in a moment. So whether we lost maybe somebody a while back and the mind continues to bring it back over and over, it creates a habit to go into that place constantly because it probably needs to until we can acknowledge it, accept it, and bring kindness to it, to ourselves. So it's important to make those two distinctions with suffering. When is it something that is actually triggered by this moment and we're right in it? If we're not in the moment when it happens, it will linger for a long time. And then when is the suffering actually brought up by our interpretation of things, right? The judgment. These are two good distinctions to make. And so with suffering, there's always this component of resistance, as we were saying, right? We humans don't really, are not really wired to endure that much pain. And it's part of our survival. And so even acknowledging that can be a sense of being compassionate towards ourselves, that resistance even to pain, to suffering, is necessary to have. And it could be even by noticing that resistance, we can notice, we talked a little bit about unhelpful habits last week. And it is the resistance that drives us to the habit. This resistance to not be with things as they are would prompt us into acting really quickly to make it all go away. And there we are, as we were saying, maybe, reaching for that ice cream or reaching for the wine. And it's our attempt to resisting what's happening. And so the sooner that we can be with it and we can just acknowledge it for what it is, the more we can overcome these habits that sometimes can be harmful for us in the long run. And so this is bringing, again, as we were saying, a sense of acceptance. But the key really is to notice a resistance to how we feel. So if something feels really hard, if something feels really heavy in the heart, notice that resistance to it. The not wanting it to be there, the wanting it to change as soon as possible. And then seeing if you can bring your attention to it, noticing how it feels on the body, and then maybe doing whatever works best for you, but in a compassionate and kind way, kind of attending to it as if it was a child that needed your attention, a child that needed embracing and understanding, deep compassion and kindness. Seeing our emotions in this way can be really helpful, and then we can draw from the wisdom that they bring. And maybe even take action towards making our life better, because that's what they're here for, to guide us to better the quality of our lives. And so the invitation to turn towards can sound daunting at times. It can sound overwhelming. But it's not about enduring. It's not about, I have to stay with this pain and this suffering. It's not about that. It's just about acknowledging that it's there. This is part of acceptance. This is hard. This is painful. And then seeing if I can attend to it as if it was a child. What would I provide? What would I do if this was a child hurting? Right? It just, every time it's towards us, we become really hard on ourselves. And so maybe tuning into with a kind sense of compassion, tenderness, that could be really helpful. And so in this invitation, we can even remember the words of Rumi when he says, welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He might be clearing you out for some new delight. He might be clearing you out for some new delight. And so as we talk about right effort in our practice, the invitation is to welcome what's happening in the moment. And right effort talks about bringing the sense of kindness, bringing the sense of compassion and loving sense and loving action towards it. That's really what we're talking about when we're referring to right effort, right? So as we've been talking about effort in general and balanced effort, knowing when we're not taking care of ourselves and that balance that we need in life. And now right effort, bringing that sense of kindness, compassion, tenderness towards the moment. And maybe we get caught up in a strong emotion that is sweeping your house empty of its furniture, as Rumi says. So this welcoming it looks like a soft whisper in the ear, maybe. Everything will be okay. Or being held in the love towards yourself. A love that comes from a deep understanding that things are hard sometimes. But also a reminder that you're here. You made it this far. And you have everything you need to continue on. And that sense of the resilience that we humans also have, that we can make it through everything. And often it's the mind that gets on the way, pushing things away, trying to protect us, as it's done all our lives. And so when we notice that resistance, that protection coming from the mind, trying to fix things, trying to change them, trying to make this discomfort go away. Maybe when we notice that, we can just ease into it, attend to it in a kind way. And maybe the question is, what does that look like for you? What does that look like for you? What does this kindness and tenderness towards the difficult look like for you? So there is a poem by Mary Oliver, and she says, eventually, tides will be the only calendar that you believe in. And someone's face, who you love, will be a star both intimate and ultimate, sorry. And you will be heart shaken and respectful. And you will hear the air itself like a beloved whisper. Oh, let me in for a little longer. And enter the two beautiful bodies of your lungs. Look and look again, she says. The world is not just a little thrill for your eyes. It's more than bones. It's more than delicate wrist with its personal pulse. It's more than the beating of a single heart. It's praising. It's giving until the giving feels like receiving. You have a life. Just imagine that. You have this day and maybe another and maybe still another. And I have become the child of the clouds and of hope. I have become the friend of the enemy, whoever that is. I have become older and cherish that I have learned what I have learned, and I have become younger as well. And why do I risk to tell you this, which is all I know? Love yourself, then forget it, then love the world, she says. So, what do I risk to tell you this, which is all I know? Love yourself, then forget it, then love the world. So, in those beautiful words, I think we can rest with ease and remembering that the question is really not how do I make this go away, but how do I attend to it? What is some act of kindness that I can bring towards myself? What would look like for me to be loving and kind towards this difficult moment? And so maybe I'll leave you with that question just for a little longer, to sit here and really allow it to just sink in for a moment. Noticing those usual habits that maybe are not helping you anymore. The resistance of trying things, trying to make things go away. What does kindness look like for you towards yourself? What does compassion look like for you towards yourself? What does love look like for you towards yourself? And if this you that we're talking about was a young child needing this kind love, compassion, tender loving care, what would it look like? Whether it is the streaming tears falling down your eyes, knowing that it's okay, whether it is a big smile and a sense of humor, knowing that it will pass. What does it look like for you? And can you embrace it all? And can you open your heart right now to receive these words, to receive this love coming your way? This acceptance that you're just perfect the way you are in your essence, that you're complete. And that all these emotions are just guests showing you the way back to your heart. Welcoming it all right now in this moment. Attending to it with care, compassion. And whenever you're ready, taking in a deep breath through the nose and holding it on top. And then releasing through the mouth with a sigh. Let's do that one more time. Taking in a deep breath and holding it and releasing. And one last time, taking in a deep breath, holding it and releasing. And maybe that's all you need to do. And now thanking yourself right now for putting in the right effort, bringing a sense of balanced effort also in your day to take care of yourself, to be here with yourself. And allowing maybe a sense of gratitude to just flow right through the very top of the head, flowing down all over the body. And allowing this sense of gratitude to stay with you. Introducing a little bit of movement, wiggling the toes, moving the wrist, maybe turning the head, stretching the neck, stretching the arms up, and just giving it all a quick stretch, big smile, welcoming the moment. It doesn't all have to be hard. We can always bring sense of humor. We can always bring a smile. So thank you for being here. Thank you for your formal practice, for your kind attention, and for tuning in, and for really providing this space for us with your presence, with your kindness. So thank you.